Today we're doing mushroom risotto. So really simple. We've got some stock. All right, we're using chicken stock, garlic, butter, an onion, obviously mushrooms. It goes without saying, could work that out yourself, I'm sure. Obviously our rice, and then we're going to use some wine. So maybe the youngsters not get into the wine, but we're going to add some just for a bit of flavor, so everybody can eat it anyway. We'll burn all the alcohol out of it anyway. So all good to go. If you are vegetarian or vegan, you can replace the chicken stock with vegetable stock and use some olive oil to cook instead of the butter. So really simple opportunity for anybody to be able to cook this stuff up and have a crack. So let's get going.
Yep.
First things first, what we want to do is we want to get the stock on to heat up because we need that nice and warm. So we'll chuck that in. We are using 2 liters. Because we probably want somewhere between 4 or 5 cups per cup of rice. We're using 2 cups of rice, so we're using 2 liters of stock. So we're going to need that going. So we'll get that up, sorted and ready to go, and chuck it on the stove.
Yep.
Cool. So now that that's on the stove, just warming up, what we're going to do is just get everything else chopped up and ready to go. Really doesn't matter what size and whatever you want to chop. If you want to do quarters, you want to do sliced, you want to do whatever you do. You do you. All right. So we've cut up all the ingredients while we were waiting for the stock to start boiling. Looks like it's starting to tick over there, which is good. Remember, kiddies, be careful with sharp knives and things, so that you're not hurting yourself. Really simple. What we're going to do now is we're going to take all this stuff and just chuck it in there in various forms. So really easy. Take it over and chuck it in. Cool. So we'll just chuck the butter in to start with. And I'm going to throw in a bit of olive oil as well, just because, why not? Just a little bit, don't be crazy. It's not going to give ourselves heart failure while we're in isolation. So we'll just get that one working together. And then from there, we'll chuck in the garlic and onion. Good. And mushrooms. Too easy. Alright. What we're going to do is we're going to cook that until it shrinks a bit. Pretty simple, isn't it? So as you can see, it's all shrunk down a bit and made it a little bit of a small area. So what we're going to do is just going to throw our rice in over the top of that and then just mix that all in. Make sure it's all getting nicely covered in those yummy juices. Oh, that's good. That looks really good. Alright, then what we're going to do is after that, we'll chuck in the wine. Chuck the wine in now and leave that to cook for a little bit before we start adding the rest of the stuff so we can burn off the alcohol on that. So we'll just chuck a bit of that in. A bit more wine up. That should do the trick. Mix that in a bit and we'll just let that burn off and cook off for a little bit before we start adding the rest. So there we go, turn up that heat and let that rock and roll. So as that dries off, really important to keep going. That sticks to the pan. Luckily we've got a really good non-stick pan here, but that'll stick like crazy to the pan, so you need to make sure that you're constantly stirring that and keeping it going and making sure that it doesn't burn. Now what we're going to do is, while that's still warm, I'm going to turn that down just a little. Alright, while that's still warm, we're going to bring this over here. We're going to use one ladle. Just going to introduce that to that one ladle at a time and mix that in, and away we go. Alright, that first one's disappeared pretty quickly, so I reckon we can get a second one in there pretty fast. Now if you run out of stock before the rice is cooked, not to stress, you can just use some water to keep that going away like crazy. But there we go. In the meantime, we'll let that go and let that sort out pretty quickly. Here we go. So we're just going to do some extra parsley and parmesan, because obviously parmesan makes it all taste a hell of a lot better. Don't use tasty cheese, tasty feet. So we'll sort that out. We can chuck that in just once we're done, and then use it for a bit of garnishing as well. So almost there. Looks like we've got all the chicken stock in there now, and it's almost ready to pull out. So looks good. So how do we know when it's ready? Well, you've all eaten rice before, so you know what rice tastes like. When it tastes like that, it's ready to go. Oh, that's come out really, really well. So what we're gonna do is bring that over this side. We'll throw some parsley in there, mix that in a bit, and we'll chuck some palmy in there. Oh, it smells good too. Oh, Gaston getting in on the action. Oh, that smells good. So we got our risotto ready to go. Remember, use a much bigger pan or bowl to cook it with than you originally thought you'd need, because that rice just expands and that's massive. It's so much bigger than when we started. But other than that, garnish with a bit of parsley and maybe a bit more parmesan. Enjoy your dinner. Have a good week. We'll be back with another recipe next week.